Round 6 of NRL Fantasy is in the books, and I'm here to give you a big recap of this one. My name's Longy, otherwise known as the Casual Athlete, and I'm here to be your guide for these early rounds of NRL Fantasy. So first up here, going to go around the grounds each game. We got the Roosters and the Knights in this one. Roosters came out a close winner. Joey Manu, first shout. Look, if Joey Manu plays fullback, Joey Manu should be in your teams. 79 points in this game, only had a try assist in terms of attacking stats, absolute monster. Terrell May, 71 points, had a try assist as well, a bit more attacking stats than usual, but 71 points in 51 minutes is absolutely insane. Victor Radley quietly making some money, 70 points, very interesting for him. Kellen Ponga, 69, he looked dead for all rights for injuries in this game and just absolutely bounced back in a big way. This is a massive game for fantasy. We had Kai Pearce-Paul score 66. Big line break for him. He was in fantastic form. Rolling down the list, look, Gussie Crichton, 61 points. Just a tradesman-like performance here from him. 80 minutes in this game. That is making him a must-have buy. If you don't have him already, go and get him right now. Then down the list, look, there isn't too much to report. Tupanua, HIA, tough go for him. He was coming on for Nat Butcher anyway, but 2 points. If you have him still, he's a sell now. Hopefully he's all right for next week. Next up, Storm and the Bulldogs. And this is a big one. So Josh Adokar, 87 points. We had eyes on him because he was at 368K. He is very cheap. He'll get more expensive with this. Would I buy him? Probably not now. His price will go up quite a bit. What was his break even? 50 points. So yeah, he's going to go up quite a bit. But if you do need a pod at the wing fullback position, don't want to pay big money, not a bad shout. Sean Bloor, 70 points, sitting next to Cam Munster. Like we said, absolutely crashed through for a try. Looked fantastic. Zeri, look, he's one worth keeping an eye on if he keeps his spot, which is a bit tumultuous. He is a great player. So 42 average so far, 59 points in this game. Cam Munster back to form, big 55. Karaz, 55 points here. What did he get? Like 300? Yeah, 303 meters run, which is insane. 55 points with basically no attacking stats for him. Going down the list, Harry Grant, somewhat disappointed in this, 52 points. It wasn't great. 53.8 average. You paid for more, so you expected more, which, I get it. You're frustrated. Eli Katoa, who we love, 35 points, a bit quieter in this game. Was hoping for a bit more from him. Stephen Crichton back to fullback, scored 31. Not a great fantasy year for him, but you keep an eye on him if he gets cheaper because he is a quality football player. All right, rolling to the next game. Broncos and the Dolphins, and this was a big one. So Paddy Carrigan, 74 points, 80 minutes, unstoppable. We could not stop this guy from tackling. Let's see his numbers. 46 tackles, 1 miss, 209 meters run, no attacking stats, 74 points. Absolute beast. Selwyn Cobbo, 64. We talked about this. He has a great run of fixtures coming up. If you want to buy Selwyn Cobbo, now could be the time. Xavier Wilson, 56 points. Scored a try, crashed over. He's in great form. Payne Haas comes back very soon, so I'm a little bit on edge about this one. I probably wouldn't go buy him, but he is a great football player, and we all know that. Going down the list, it looks like the guys have bounced back. Isaiah Katoa, he's back in form. Cody Nikorima as well with a similar score. Down the list, Bostock just keeps on scoring tries. This guy is a try-scoring machine, and that's boosting his fantasy scores. Reece Walsh, 34 with a try. Not a great score. He's going to get nice and cheap for us, but unfortunately, Origin is coming up. Ezra Mam had a bit of an injury in this one, so I would keep an eye on that if you're looking at buying him. And then down the list, look, Hamaso, 5 points, copped a bit of an injury in this one. Played, what was it here? Sort of 20 minutes. It's not a great amount of time, right? 5 points. It's a tough one. You're going to have to sell him because it's going to be about a 6-week injury for Hamaso Tabuai-Fidow, which is bad news for the Dolphins as well. Next up, Warriors and Seagulls, 22 all. Went to Golden Point. No one kicked a field goal. Didn't stop the Hearts from scoring well in fantasy, though, so both of them had 600-plus keep meters. Sean Johnson, 82 points, unstoppable performance, scored a try. DCE, not to be outdone, 81 points, scored 2 tries in this game and was just absolutely dominant. We talked about these guys just in great form. DCE, a bit more attacking stat reliant. Sean Johnson, a bit stronger in the base stats. Down the list, Wade Egan, he's a big pod. Tell you what, look at that average. It's about the same as Harry Grant, but at a much smaller price, 593K. He'll be coming up in price soon, though. He's had a couple of good games in a row, but worth looking at. Nickel Clockstad, 69 points. I worry about this because he is a 42 career average, and he averaged 42 last year. So I don't really know where this increase in work rate is coming from. I don't know if he can maintain it. That's kind of my concern here. But he's playing great footy, and if you like the pod, go and get the pod. 5.1% owned. He's an absolute weapon of a football player. Down the list, Fanua Blake back to form, 74 minutes, 62 points. We love to see it. Corey Waddell, 391k, scored 52 here. He will get more minutes with Burbo copping that hamstring injury. So look, 52. He's about a 42 average when he plays big minutes across his career. So I would pencil him in for a 42. At that price, you could do a lot worse, especially since he is middle eligible as well. Tommy Turbo, 48 points. And right next to him, Tommy Talau, 46 points. So these two boys for the Manly back three, right next to each other in terms of those fantasy scores. Then down the list, look, nothing too crazy to report. Ben Trebojevic, he copped a hammy injury. Scored a try before it, though, so you got a decent score out of him with 29 points. Down the bottom, nothing too crazy to report here. The big boy Aaron Woods comes back and plays a bit. That hair looks a little fake, but we do love Aaron Woods, don't we? Good to see him still running around. And he is great on the radio as well, actually. I'll throw that out there. Next one here, the Eels and the Cowboys. So Dylan Brown, 70 points. Absolute juggernaut performance. If you had Dylan Brown, you captained him, you are very happy. And Parramatta got away with a win here, and they have 6 of the top 7 fantasy scorers in this one as well. Jermaine Hopgood, 52 points. That's about his base. That's what you sort of expect from him, 52 and 60. Last week scored the try. Could have had a couple more tries in this game, actually, if not for a few little calls here. So he could have had 80 points in this game, but 52 is all right. Cotter, 50 points in 62 minutes. Just a solid base stat performance. Gutho, 47 points. Had some big attacking plays down the stretch. He played a lot better in real life than this fantasy score indicates. So I'm a big Gutho fan in real life and a big Gutho fan in fantasy. I think he will continue to bounce back. Then down the list, look, Sean Lane. Some of us still have him. 45 without doing too much that jumped off the scoreboard. I don't mind that for base stats. I'm going to hang on to Sean Lane for a bit longer, but I'm not super hyped about having him in fantasy. I do think he'll come good for Parramatta, though. Val Holmes, 44 points of the try. He is just on fire to start this year, isn't he, Val Holmes? Yeah, look, he can just keep on rolling. If you got him, keep riding that train. Tommy Chester, 44 points, grabbed the try, 350k. It's a good price. It's a good score. It's a good buy, isn't it? Reece Robson back to earth, so down to 42 after that 80 last week, which was massive. Penasini comes back to some form, 41 points. He's been a bit quiet in recent weeks, so good to see for him. Fitipuyaki, 33, a bit quieter, which we didn't love. Bryce Cartwright, 24 points. That was a real low score. And Madison, 13 points. So, Maddo could be a buy at some point if he gets nice and cheap for us here. The Bunnies and the Sharkies. Now, this was a big game for the Bunnies under a lot of pressure. And they had some bad luck in this one with a couple of injuries. First up, I'll get on the bottom actually here because Tavita Totola, he was knocked out of this game very early on. He's been very important for South Sydney. Munro also copped an injury. I believe it was something around the collarbone sort of area. So tough go for him. Super talented young guy. Will get cheaper for fantasy, so we might be buying him in a bit of time when he comes back because I think he'll burst back into the first grade side. Jackie Whiten, look, it's been a bit inconsistent. He has some very big games, very quiet games, so worth keeping an eye on him as well in terms of price. Cody Walker is getting cheap for fantasy, so minus 145k. We know he is one of the best sixes in the comp. Does he bounce back for fantasy? Maybe if South can. Absolutely. Cam Murray, 40 minutes in this game, 32 points. He copped that HIA. They have a bye next week in South Sydney, so you were going to lose him anyway. If you are holding on to him, look, he's at a price. He'll be about 750k sort of thing, which is a bit tricky, but I'd hold on. Jai Gray, 39 points, absolute dynamo, fantastic stat line here. So you got 172 run meters, 7 tackle breaks. Good on him. Great debut. He did nothing wrong for South Sydney. Kyle Arrow, 40 points. We love to see this. And look at this stat line. 18 tackles, 2 tackle breaks, 1 forced error, 153 meters. No negatives, no attacking stats, 40 points. Love it. Arrow is a player for the future. Absolute weapon of a guy. Hines, a lot of attacking stats, only 53 points. Not super stoked with that as captain. I would have wanted a bit more from him. And then there's some decent scores up top, but very attacking stat reliant for these guys. Going through Sunday games, Tigers and the Dragons. And this one was a pretty tight game. So we had Luciano Leilua pull out of this game just before kickoff. Jaden Sewer cranked a big score. He's a good back rower, right? You want him at value, though. 650k. There's not the value there, so I wouldn't be making that move. Zach Lomax, another day out, mate. This guy just keeps on producing. and he will be producing for Parramatta very soon, which I am stoked about. Zach Lomax, what a gun, but would I buy him in fantasy? 650k, value's not quite there. Stefano, we talked about him a lot last week. Look, 51 points with the try. It's not a great fantasy score. Like, good on him for scoring the try, but we were hoping for a bit more for fantasy. So if you got on him, you're hoping for a bounce back next week. Jack to Bellin, 56 minutes, 48 points. If he ever gets 80 minutes back again, he is a buy like that. I think this guy's an absolute freak for fantasy. Coruscant, 44. Been a bit underwhelming recently. If I had Coruscant, I'd be looking at those matchups coming up. You've got the Panthers and then you've got the Broncos. And those middle forward sections are going to be tough sledding for Coruscant. I would consider selling him. Flanagan grabs a try. This guy can score a try. He can score a try. 43 points. Look stoked for that. I'll take that win as a Flanagan owner myself. But I can't rely on those tries every single week, can I? Alex Seyfarth, 47 minutes, 32 points. Good score for his minutes, but people were hoping for more minutes. Then down the list, there's some quieter scores here too. Fayatape, 13 points. Hasn't quite found his footing in terms of fantasy production in that starting spot. Olam also back to earth a bit with a 19-pointer after some very good scores recently. So you might have to reconsider those guys with the Broncos and the Panthers coming up. Big defensive games. Last one here, the Raiders and the Titans. And this was a cracker of a game, wasn't it? Some good footy. Jamal Fogarty, he showed out in real life. He showed out in this game. So you've got the 4 goals, the field goal, the try assist, 4 tackle breaks, 694 kick meters. Mate, 8 missed tackles, though, and still 82 points. He would have scored 100 points without the minuses. Takes his average up to 60 points, so he is back on. People were talking about captaining him this week. If you did captain him, bravo to you. I respect that so much. Jamin Jolliffe, 69 minutes, grabbed the try, 54 tackles. Tell you what, he could almost be a buy still right now, which is absolutely crazy to think about. If he's going to get those minutes every week, we got to look at the rotations, but I'm quietly intrigued. 0.2% owned as well. We talked about him a few weeks ago. He's been producing very quietly. Chris Randall, 91 minutes in this game. If he can make 61 tackles a game and play 91 minutes or even 80 minutes, right? Call it 80 minutes and 60 points. That's fantastic. 0.5% owned. Hooker and middle eligible. I'll be looking at him very closely this week. That's all I'm going to say. And they're both a nice price in the mid 500s. Kieran Foran, 661 kick meters in this game, 70 points, priced at 350k. Now, Jaden Campbell copped an injury in this game, so I don't know if this is going to continue. I think Tanner Boyd will come back into the team, and Foran won't be that dominant kicker next week. But if he ever is named next to Brimson and Campbell, we've just seen right here that the blueprint is that he takes all the kicks, so let's keep an eye on that for future. Kieran Foran could be on our watch list. Going down the list, Hudson Young had a cracker, scored a try. Morgan Smithies, 91 minutes, 61 points. This guy is just getting some great minutes. Mariota, 299k, 57 points. What was his stat line like here? 36 tackles, 88 meters. Yeah, look, just a workman-like stat line. 1 try assist, but yeah, I'm keeping an eye on that for Mariota. That's if he gets that starting spot as well, because obviously Hosking copped an unfortunate injury. That could be very big. Fafita, 55 points, started off the bench. Don't love it. Ethan Strange cracked a 50. That's a 35 average now for him. He's quietly producing well. Quietly a good little starter in our center spot. Brian Kelly backs up some good scores with a 47. So he is back in form. Very interesting. Brimson, he's a 44 average when he plays fullback. He scored 46. It's pretty much what is written on the tin with him. If you like him at 472k, I don't mind that pick at all. You can go and make that move. Then the minutes are a bit tough to read with the forward pack because there was extra time, 10 minutes. But go on the list. Look, this is a tough one. Campbell, bit of a knee injury. It sucks for him. Obviously we play fantasy, but I just hope he's all right. He's a very good football player. He deserves his shot, deserves a run of injury-free footy because he can really show out. And that's sort of top of mind on this. Chevy Stewart, 26 points. Look, I'll take it. In a game where he really didn't have any attacking stats, ran 205 meters, I can cop it. 26. You throw in some attacking stats as he gets more comfortable. As an owner, I'm okay with it. I might not start him next week. I've got Tedesco coming back personally, but I will definitely look at loopholing him in to my team if he can score well. If I didn't have him, I'd consider buying him. He was reasonably solid. Let's see him get named again for next week, but yeah, he's a good player. And then, yeah, Hosking, dislocated shoulder, really, really bad luck. 21 points in 33 minutes, and then just, got cut off short. So, I mean, that's that game there. So, in terms of the recap, look, it was a big round, a lot of big scores. If you had a bit of disappointment this week, that's okay. Next week, we come in and we have more trades in the bank. We get 3 trades, so you can boost. That means that if your team is a mess, 3 trades is a lot more to make those moves that you need to make. So we'll be back on NRL Fantasy to talk about those trades in crunch time and look at the players in focus. And also, you can find me, the Casual Athlete, on YouTube, where I make buy, hold, sell videos and all that fantasy content. I'll see you guys around. Best